Philippine Airlines, an airline I wanted to try for a very long time, mainly thanks to their superb reputation here in Europe. But are they slowly losing their competitiveness due to their aging aircraft fleet? And what about their onboard service? Many questions that are in need for some answers. Fancy joining me on this adventure? Welcome to Fly with Dominic. Hey folks, and beautiful good day from Kuala Lumpur International Airport Terminal 1. Today I'll be flying all the way to the Philippines, to Manila to be precisely, on board Philippine Airlines Airbus A321 in economy class. So let's take a quick look at Kuala Lumpur International Airport and afterwards head right through the immigration control and the security control in order to get to today's gate. Cheers! And what I forgot to say initially, of course, I am more than happy that you guys are coming along for this video. But anyway, let's get back to business and kick off this video with something positive. At Philippine Airlines, some seats in the back of the cabin can be reserved for free during the initial booking process. Something you rarely see in Europe these days. Interestingly, at Kuala Lumpur Airport, you clear the customs and immigration first, right behind the check-in hall, before heading all the way to the gate where an individual security control is located. And being honest, I quite like this system. By the way, today's flight is Philippine Airlines service PR 526 to Manila, leaving from gate C13 at 12:10 p.m. To my surprise, the boarding process has already started almost an hour before departure and the status was immediately set to last call, maybe as the flight is leaving from the satellite terminal? Talking about the satellite terminal, with the airport's automated shuttle train under maintenance, all passengers had to take a shuttle bus instead. Of course, this is less convenient, but at least the view outside on the apron was nice. After disembarking the bus, it was just a short walk to gate C13, where our Airbus A321 was being prepared for the journey to Manila. Alright, I finally made it all the way to the satellite terminal with the C gates, and I also almost made it to today's gate, C13, which should be somewhere there behind me. So yeah, let's head through the security control, which is located right in front of the gate, and afterwards head right inside today's Airbus A321 aircraft. Sadly not a Neo. But well. And luckily, the security control was already rather empty. But now it was finally time to get my boarding pass scanned and head through the jet bridge towards today's Airbus A321. By the way, did I already mention that this is actually the first time that I'm flying Philippine Airlines, so I'm pretty much looking forward to this flight, being honest. But well, let's finally head inside the aircraft. Once I stepped on board, I was warmly greeted by today's Philippine Airlines cabin crew. The aircraft itself looked well maintained, though clearly not brand new. Alright, I finally made it inside the aircraft and settled in on today's seat 68A, which is, well, obviously right next to the window. I already got to say that today's cabin crew seems to be really charming and really motivated. Which is, well, always nice to have, of course, as a passenger. So yeah, let's finally take a quick look at today's seat. Legroom was still fair for a short flight and the seat itself quite comfortable, nicely cushioned, though the design showed its age. The magazine compartment in front holds a safety card and a sick bag, but no onboard magazine. The foldable table, however, looked stable and the view outside the window on the rear part of the wing is decent, ignoring a few fingerprints from former passengers. Luckily, although this flight was well booked, both seats next to me remained empty. Well, at least until we started taxiing and somebody else took his chance to escape a full row. Understandable. Pushback was initiated right on time and we began our taxi out of Kuala Lumpur's Terminal 1. With one of Southeast Asia's longest runways, there is usually a rather high chance to spot some wide bodies. By the way, Philippine Airlines, or PAL, is the flag carrier of the Philippines and one of Asia's oldest airlines, founded back in 1941 already. It's known for its traditional service style and warm hospitality, often described as a reflection of Filipino culture. Today, PAL operates a fleet of Airbus and Boeing aircraft to more than 40 international destinations, centered around its Manila and Cebu hubs. Alright, we are finally about to line up the runway, so let's take one last look through the cabin and also double check that my seatbelt is securely fastened for takeoff. And well, let's just hope that we will have a nice departure here from Kuala Lumpur with maybe also some nice views over the amazing and beautiful city center of Kuala Lumpur. Let's, well, as always, just hope for the best. And see you once we are airborne.
Safety, please keep your seatbelt fastened at all times and seated, as you may experience clear air turbulence during the flight. Use the lavatories located in your section.
Well, the cabin crew has finally kicked off the in-flight service about 45 minutes into the flight. And well, I got to say that today's meal looks seriously fantastic for such a rather short flight. Flight time is, by the way, 3.5 hours, I guess. And there were actually two options to choose from. The first one was chicken with rice, which I took, and the second one being beef with noodles. And I got to say, the chicken with rice looks absolutely amazing. So let's take a closer look at it and, of course, give it a try right afterwards. For main, I was served chicken covered in some sort of a teriyaki sauce with spiced rice, pickled radish and carrots. This was coming along a cold bread roll with sadly unsalted butter, a pack of dried peas with mango bits, as well as another pack of dried mango, this time just sliced. And finally a rather big bottle of still water. Additionally, various hot and cold beverages are also available free of charge. One small disappointment though, there is no local Filipino beer on offer, only Tiger from Singapore and Asahi from Japan, which I went for. Still, service-wise, this is definitely more than what I expected on this short-haul flight. But first things first, let's give the Japanese Asahi beer a try. And well, cheers to today's cabin crew, as they are so far seriously doing an amazing job. It's pretty good. At cruising altitude, the cabin remained quiet and calm. There is no Wi-Fi or in-flight entertainment system on this aircraft, and also no universal power outlet underneath the seat. The seat pocket in front only contains this sick bag as well as the safety card of today's Airbus A321. An onboard magazine was also not available. I think this is a cutback due to the previous COVID pandemic. The seat itself comes in a blue fabric cover and is definitely on the comfortable side. It was even equipped with a flexible headrest, which is always a helpful tool to get some sleep. Of course, the seat is also reclinable by approximately 5 degrees. But let's finally take a quick look around the rear lavatory, which is probably nothing too fancy. I mean, you can find a similar lavatory like this one on literally any A320 family aircraft out there. However, I do appreciate that Philippine Airlines also offers some lotions next to the normal hand soap. But let's head back to my seat, as we'll be soon beginning with our descent into Manila.
Cabin crew prepare for arrival.
So, soon enough, the Philippine coastlines came into view. Scattered islands, clear blue water and lush green terrain. It's seriously a nice approach into Ninoy Aquino Airport, which is, by the way, located south of Manila city center. It's the main gateway to the Philippines and home base to Philippine Airlines. And the airport has 4 terminals handling both domestic and international flights. but let's, as always, enjoy the landing.
Mabuhay! Philippine Airlines welcomes you to Manila.
Touchdown was smooth and taxiing to the gate was surprisingly straightforward. So let's try to sum up today's flight experience on board Philippine Airlines Airbus A321. If you ask me, Philippine Airlines delivered a solid performance, friendly crew, good food and a comfortable seat. However, some sort of in-flight entertainment, either in form of a monitor, remotely via Wi-Fi, or at least an onboard magazine with travel hints for the Philippines would have been nice. But apart of that, for such a short hop across Southeast Asia, this was an enjoyable way to travel. Especially considering that many extras, which often come at a surcharge, like check-in baggage, standard seat selection, or an in-flight meal, are completely free of charge on board Philippine Airlines. While heading outside, I was able to take another glimpse around the cabin and oh boy, business class always looks tempting.
Thank you, bye-bye.
But let's take one last look at today's A321 that took me and you, in form of my camera, to Manila safe and sound. Alright, so finally, and as always, I can only say thank you guys for coming along to today's trip report, and also special thanks to today's amazing Philippine Airlines cabin crew and also the pilots, as I had some chit-chat with them when, well, disembarking the plane. But anyway, wishing you guys all the best, have a great day, stay safe, please do consider subscribing to my channel if you do not want to miss any upcoming video, and also of course leave a like whatsoever, you know the whole procedure. Have a good one and cheers!